On the morning of July 17, 1897, the steamship Portland entered Puget Sound from the north and sped toward Seattle. On board were 68 prospectors, carrying well over a ton of gold between them. Riches panned from the frigid tributaries of the Klondike River in northwestern Canada's Yukon. By the time that ship reached Seattle's waterfront, here at what used to be Schwabacher's Wharf, 5,000 people had gathered to greet it and to wonder how they could become the next millionaires. It was the beginning of the Klondike Stampede, North America's last great frontier adventure. Seattle was more than ready for this good news. The city had burned to the ground in 1889, and they'd been brought to its knees by the Panic of 1893. If there was a gold rush in the offing, Seattle damn well wanted its share. As the closest American rail port to southeast Alaska, from which prospectors made their way over Chilkoot Pass to the Klondike, Seattle figured to boom with the stampede. So new ships were built to carry the rapacious hordes north. New hotels opened in town too, including the Grand Pacific here on First Avenue. Seattle even hired its own publicist just to be sure that everybody knew that the best way to the gold fields was straight through the Emerald City. Gold, 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 gold headlined the Seattle Post-Intelligencer, creating a fever of greed in men and women from around the world and drawing them to Seattle on their way to Dawson City at the heart of the Klondike region. As many as 1,500 people shipped north from Seattle during the first month of the gold rush, including the mayor, with tens of thousands more to follow. Local merchants made a mint outfitting would-be prospectors, all of whom, by Canadian law, had to pack along a full year's worth of food and other supplies, a burden that could weigh up to a ton. Stores like Cooper and Levy, which once occupied these storefronts on First Avenue, ordered so many provisions that piles of surplus had to be stacked 10 feet high along some sidewalks. Anything a gold seeker thought he needed could be purchased in Seattle, from fur-seated trousers to huge portable stoves to X-ray machines that were supposed to pinpoint buried wealth. Some people took bicycles north with them, thinking to pedal their way to the precious metal. Others took dog sleds to be pulled by the packs of canines being imported to Seattle on a weekly basis. When actual sled dogs weren't available, fortune hunters just stole household pets. So many dogs were sent north in 1897 and 98 that the city became known as a cat's paradise. It was also a paradise to con men, women of disputable virtue, and other slick sinners bent on mining the miners. About 100,000 people joined the Klondike Gold Rush. Of those, only 4,000 actually found riches. Most folks discovered that the best claims had been staked long before they even arrived in the Yukon. As the gold rush petered out in 1899, prospectors returned home, or they came back to live here in Seattle, more than quadrupling the local population by 1910. They helped to turn this once underachieving place into the Northwest's most bustling city. You can still get a feel for those wild times by visiting the Klondike Gold Rush National Historical Park in Pioneer Square. Here, photos, films, and artifacts prove that in the 1890s, the promise of Seattle's prosperity was as good as gold. For Eccentric Seattle, this is J. Kingston Pierce.